All right, so let's jump right into this. We're looking at a nation that's, well, walking a tightrope. On one side, you've got this incredible progress, but on the other, a really looming crisis. This is the story of Pakistan today, a fascinating paradox of newfound influence and, at the same time, deep-seated vulnerability.
I mean, just look at this. Pakistan is flexing some serious muscle in the tech world. It's not just climbing the ranks in global outsourcing. It's also, and I mean this literally, reaching for the stars by launching new satellites. These are major milestones. They're signs of a country that's really on the move.
But at the exact same time, back down on Earth, the reality for a lot of people is incredibly tough. The country is navigating a severe economic crisis. It's dealing with these tough IMF-led austerity measures, the kind of major cuts that drive up the cost of essentials like fuel and electricity. And this is straining the social safety nets, things like programs that provide cash to low-income families, to their absolute breaking point.
Okay, so now let's kind of zoom out from Pakistan's internal struggles and take a look at the bigger picture. Because while all this is happening at home, a fire has been lit right in its backyard, a regional conflict that has put the entire global economy on high alert.
So what happened? Well, tensions between the United States and Iran have just exploded. And the flashpoint? The Strait of Hormuz, which is basically the jugular vein of the world's oil supply. Iran's control over this crucial waterway, met by a U.S. naval blockade, brought global trade to a screeching halt.
And the economic shockwave was instant. Bam! The price for a barrel of Brent crude oil just shot up, peaking at $126. Now that might just sound like a number, but we're talking about the kind of price that threatens to tip the whole world into a recession. Supply chains for pretty much everything were completely tangled up.
So, in the middle of all this chaos, with the world's superpowers at a deadlock and everyone just holding their breath, a diplomatic channel opened up from a very unexpected place. An unlikely mediator stepped onto the stage, and suddenly the center of global diplomacy shifted to a new and honestly pretty surprising location. As both Washington and Tehran were looking for a way to calm things down, they needed a neutral place to talk. And the one place, the only place both sides could agree on, was Islamabad. Just like that, the capital of Pakistan became the focal point for solving a crisis that had the entire planet on edge.
And here you can see exactly who is in the room. You've got the heavy hitters, top-level delegations from the US and Iran. But the really critical role, the people making it all happen, was Pakistan's civilian and military leadership working together. In fact, the American president himself personally gave credit to Prime Minister Sharif and Army Chief Munir for getting that first ceasefire brokered.
So this brings us to the big question, right? The real heart of the paradox. Why Pakistan? I mean, what gives this nation, a country that we just saw is dealing with its own severe economic problems, the kind of diplomatic muscle to pull two global powers back from the brink of war?
Well, a big part of the answer lies right here, within Pakistan's powerful military establishment, and specifically its top intelligence agency, the ISI. These guys have a knack for operating in really complex situations, and, crucially, for keeping back channels of communication open when nobody else can. It's a skill they've honed over decades, and it's a key source of their strategic influence.
But let's be really clear about something. While Pakistan was getting all these pats on the back on the world stage, its own economy was taking a massive hit from the very same conflict it was trying to solve.
And these numbers, they really paint a stark picture of the damage. In just 45 days, the conflict cost Pakistan between $4 and $8 billion. It pushed as many as 7 million people into poverty and left millions more struggling for food. And the craziest part? Pakistan didn't fire a single shot. They were just brutal collateral damage in a fight they were desperately trying to stop.
So let's look at how this paradox, this diplomatic strength combined with economic weakness, actually creates a very unique and very time-sensitive window of opportunity for Islamabad.
This is really the core of Pakistan's high-stakes gamble. Right now, it holds this incredible diplomatic leverage. It's got the ear of Washington, Tehran, and other key players. But that kind of leverage, it has an expiration date. The real challenge is to convert that temporary diplomatic standing into a permanent economic lifeline before the world's attention just moves on.
So you better believe Islamabad has a clear agenda. This isn't just about hosting talks. The strategy really boils down to three key things: making sure its own ships can get through Hormuz, opening up new trade routes that bypass the Gulf completely, and getting in position to lead the reconstruction effort once the conflict ends.
And this is where the rubber meets the road. Pakistan is using its seat at the table to push for very specific deals. We're talking about things like a formal agreement for toll-free passage for its cargo. That could save over $100 million a year right there. Or renegotiating a tough gas contract. Or maybe even reviving that long-stalled gas pipeline project with Iran. Each one of these is a tangible economic win.
This table just lays out the stakes perfectly. If the ceasefire holds, oil prices stay under control and the economic hit is manageable. But if the talks break down, you could see oil prices soar past $130 a barrel, and that would push Pakistan's economy straight into a critical danger zone. Absolutely everything is riding on these negotiations.
So we end up right back where we started, with this central paradox. Pakistan has masterfully played a really difficult hand to become an indispensable peacemaker. But the clock is ticking. The crucial question now is whether this rare moment of global leverage can be turned into the economic security and stability that its 240 million people so desperately need.